Hello everybody, good evening, welcome to Easy Diner and welcome to the live that I'm doing with them on Parsi Food. It's good to have you all here, and this is the first time I think I'm going to be doing an Insta Live all by myself. Otherwise I'm only backing vocals for my wife Ria and cameraman and general factotum. So this is going to be a fun thing. What we're basically going to do today is we're going to showcase two Parsi recipes. These are two completely Indian Parsi dishes. As in, these are Parsi dishes, and the Parsis may be of Persian extract many hundreds of years ago. But the two dishes that we're going to make, Margina Farcha and Ravaiya. Okay, Margina Farcha of course is chicken. So Margina Farcha normally done on the bone, and they're rather big pieces, and they're difficult to do at home. So some years ago at Katie's Kitchen, Ria and I decided to turn them into bite-sized, boneless little nuggets. So we're going to do those for you. And then we're going to do this really simple dish called Ravaiya, okay, which all my vegetarian friends say is a counterpart to Patrani Machi. And what Patrani Machi does for the pescatarians and the non-vegetarians, Ravaiya works for them in the same way. So we're going to do these two dishes with you all today. And we're going to hurry it up a little because Insta gives us only 1 hour, and I'll take you with me.
Introduce yourself.
So Ria just reminded me that I haven't introduced myself. I'm Purush Dalal, archaeologist, caterer and culinary anthropologist, proprietor of Katie's Kitchen, and general do-gooder when it comes to food and eating of food and telling people about food. So come with me to the kitchen. And what we do is we put together the farchas. They're very simple to do, and it's a recipe that you should be able to do at your house also on your own. Come. So what we're going to do first is we're going to take some chicken. So I've cubed this chicken I have over here. Okay, and we're going to put this. We washed and cubed the chicken. Now we're going to take a little ginger garlic paste. Parsis cannot really cook any non-veg without ginger garlic paste. It's like a go-to thing. Okay. I'm going to add a little salt to this. A generous bit of haldi. Chili powder. I always use Kashmiri chili powder. It's a thing that we've always had since my mother's time. She loved the flavor and she loved the aroma and the color, but she didn't really like the heat of bedgi and other chilies. We normally use various different types of garam masala. I'm using simple Everest garam masala over here, but you can substitute it with any others. At work, I would probably use a dansak masala for something like this. So we've got the basic ingredients in over here. Interestingly, we add a little bit of chopped coriander right now to this itself. And the secret ingredient. The secret ingredient, and this was something that my mother started adding, I don't know if anybody else does, is a decent bit of chopped celery leaves. Now, it doesn't taste very European at all, and the celery leaves really work a magic on this dish of their own. So here I'm just putting the masala and the greens together. Make sure that the adrak lasun paste makes its way over all of them. The masala goes in. This is a very simple dish. You don't have to make this in advance and marinate it, but it's a double cooked dish. So once you've done the first cooking, you can actually put them away in boxes. You can, if you want, marinate it and keep it for some time, but that's completely up to you. So you take a pan and you put in some oil, and you've got to be a little generous with the oil. And while the oil is cold, you put in the chicken. I know this sounds like a very odd dish, where you start putting in the chicken into the cold chicken into the oil itself.
The oil, chicken in the cold oil.
The chicken in the cold oil, sorry. But this dish does its magic. It depends on what oil you'd like to use. You can use almost any oil that you'd like. And yes, it does impart flavor. Try not to use a very neutral oil. Use something like a good til oil or a mustard oil or a peanut oil. We're using a filtered peanut oil over here. You'll see them start to sizzle very soon. And if you'll notice, they'll start sucking up the oil also. So we'll be cooking the chicken completely in the oil. Okay. As I said, this is a twice cooked chicken dish. So turn them all over once they get, so the juices seal in a bit and they don't dehydrate too much. And now that you've got it cooking, turn it on really low, the heat, and put a lid on them. Keep an eye on the gas. The gas tends to go off sometimes. So we're now going to go and tackle the next dish. These are the famous ravaias that the Parsis make, and they're a very simple dish. You use gouti brinjals and a green chutney. Now, we didn't have enough time to make the chutney on the spot, so we made the chutney in advance. And the chutney is very simple. It's basically coconut with green chilies, mint, coriander, garlic, black pepper, lemon juice, salt and sugar. So it's up to you to decide what you want to do, but normally for one entire coconut you'd use about 1.5 to 2 cups of coriander, a little less than 1 cup of mint, and chilies and things to suit your taste. We normally use about 8 or 10 pods of garlic, a nice heaped teaspoon of sugar.
Cloves of garlic.
Sorry, cloves of garlic, not pods, and at least 1 teaspoon of salt. So these are of course lockdown brinjals, so they're not the best brinjals, and if my mom had been around, she would have probably thrown a complete fit about cooking these, but these are the veggies we're getting, so we'll make the most of them. You don't take off the ends, you use the ones with the kata as they're called. So the kateri brinjals are the tastier brinjals. What you simply do is you cut the brinjal with 2 slits like this, so you open up each brinjal. So these are the magic ingredients, of course, always salt and haldi. So you put a little salt into each of these guys. You open them up a bit. They will discolor immediately upon your cutting them, so don't worry about it if you are a first timer by any chance.
Kamalikat Basudev has commented, my son says he is the lime cake uncle.
Yes. Thank you, my boy. Actually, it's the lime cake auntie who's doing the live with me.
So we've got the salt in.
Okay. Now that we got the salt, we do the same with the turmeric.
Haldi.
Just a little bit, not too much. Priya probably thinks this is way too much. I remember how aghast she was when she married into this crazy turmeric loving family, and she told me that the amount of turmeric we used a week would probably last her family a couple of months.
So yeah, so just squish everything together so the salt and turmeric are nicely smeared. And
You
then
take your fingers, you put them into the chutney, you match up the chutney. Chutney tends to
clump up.
clump up a little bit, don't worry about that. Generously.
So this is a completely hands-on preparation. So don't fool around with spoons and all of that. Get right in, get your fingers dirty, feel your food, and yeah.
There's a joy in cooking with your hands, and similarly in eating with your hands.
So while stuffing the brinjals, be generous. You don't want just a smear of chutney. You want lots of it. Veena Arora, you can mix the salt and haldi if you like and then apply it. Entirely your choice.
So we've got and we take a little bit of chutney to kind of fill in a few blanks so you can see them.
Yeah, you can't have too much chutney in this.
Yeah.
So
Not to mention why waste a couple of spoonfuls of chutney, right?
yeah.
So we've got all our chutney in our ravayas.
So Doggo Lover, the chutney is basically a mix of coconut and coriander, mint, green chilies, lemon juice, garlic and salt. Did I miss anything, Guru?
Lemon juice, sugar, salt.
Sugar, a little bit of sugar also.
It all depends on how sweet you want to make it. The Parsis like all their food sweet on one side. Some of them will also put in a decent amount of vinegar into their chutneys. My family's always made theirs purely with lemon juice, but it's completely up to you.
So take a flattish bottomed bartan. Since we are doing a small number, we've taken this kadai.
You don't want the bengans to burn. Okay, you let the oil heat a bit.
So anybody who's cooked brinjal is aware that brinjals suck up oil. So be a little generous.
Let the oil warm up a little bit. In the meantime, have a look at the farchas. The farchas are doing beautifully.
Yes, they are bubbling away nicely.
Shake them up a little just for the fun of it. The oil is now warm.
So just place the bengans. If you're doing more, just take a flat tray or something deep though, and you can arrange them in that. So we have placed the brinjals.
Now you add the secret ingredient. This is the secret ingredient. This is Cola's cane vinegar. This is the vinegar that Parsis cook with. So you add a nice, decent slug of vinegar.
That's about a quarter of a cup that's gone in,
Little less.
roughly. And see, it's sizzling nicely. And we are getting a fantastic whiff of that vinegar.
Time to turn the bengans a bit. This is why you keep the stalks on. It makes them easy to work with.
Yeah, so just turn these babies around a bit so that the other side also gets a chance.
Put a lid on them.
अभी ढक्कन बिठा दो.
And
गैस थोड़ा कम कर दो.
काफी कम कर दो. On the other side, I've just shut down the chicken that we made. So this is your Margina farcha. What we're going to do is we're going to cool them down.
First stage.
Okay, this is stage 1 of the Margina farcha. We're not done with them. So we're going to cool them down a little bit now. We'll take them out with us. And we're going to take some other things out with us.
Just give us a minute. We're just reorganizing the space. In the meantime, you can.
The bengans will do very well and very quietly by themselves. After about a couple of minutes, if you feel the need, add a small sprinkle of water to them.
Just like cheetahs.
Okay? Otherwise, just let them keep going the way they are. Now, for the farchas, we're basically going to need 3 things. We're going to need some good breadcrumbs. And you can either make breadcrumbs at home, or almost every single bakery that makes bread also makes breadcrumbs out of the leftover bread.
It's fairly fine. In case you are fancy and have panko crumbs at home, just whisk them in your mixie and make it a little fine, because these are mini farchas. We are using boneless pieces of chicken, so the panko tends to become very, very bulky, and it gets, then the farcha becomes very doughy on the surface. So these kind of fine crumbs are ideal. So in case you are using panko, just whiz it through your processor once.
So now we're going to do the most important thing. This is the edu, the egg, and Parsis can't live without the eggs. So we're going to take 3 eggs for this. Riya says take 2, 3 will be too much. So we'll listen to Riya and we'll take 2.
Yeah, if come padta hai, to we can always take another.
Add a small bit of salt.
Yeah, keep seasoning as you go.
And beat them up. The farchas at this stage can be quietly put into the fridge and forgotten about over there for a couple of days and taken out later. So if you're doing prep for a party, it's easy to put them away at this point. Once you've breaded them, it's really not sensible to put them away at all. So what you do is you take the farcha and you press it down into the breadcrumbs. Okay. So while I keep doing this,
this is what it should look like. The breadcrumbs are nicely stuck onto the piece of chicken. So while Kurush is doing this, I'm going to just go and start the oil for deep frying. Kurush, ye le lo.
So this is again very hands-on, and this is like most of the food in India has always been forever and ever. And these are a little warm when I'm working with them. I'm a little used to it because of many years of working in the kitchen. You might want to let them cool a bit before you start working them. Remember to get them well crumbed. All the sides should have crumb on them. That is what it's all about. Now this is, like I said, normally done with whole chicken legs and chicken breasts and things like that. And that becomes sometimes a little too heavy to eat. It also becomes a little difficult to cook at home. Not to mention that breast and leg tend not to cook at the same rate. And then, you have all those problems. You have wastage. As a caterer working with Parsi functions, weddings and things like that, I've seen the change, and people eat much smaller portions than they used to eat before. So it does make a lot of sense to keep the traditional things in small portion sizes so that you can savor the tastes and the flavors. And still not have wastage. Pressing them down also gives them a slightly larger surface area. So we've done with that. And we'll take these over with us to the kitchen if Riya comes back. And we'll take our beaten egg.
Yeah, we've got the crumbs done. And now we have to dip and fry. So once again we've got the same filtered peanut oil that's heating up, and what are you looking for, Guru?
Slotted spoon.
1 minute, I'll give you. Shut this. Hold this.
So we've got a kadai with oil in it, and we are heating the oil in the kadai. I have never used psyllium husk instead of crumbs, Manish. I really, have no idea about that. But
Isabgol.
It sounds a little odd to a good Parsi because Isabgol is normally meant to aid in digestion. But, whatever works for you, works for you.
I'll just test the oil. I'll just give it another minute or so because it hasn't really.
In the meantime, we can have a look at our ravayas and see how they're doing.
They're sizzling nicely, and
you put them back quickly. You want them to cook in their own steam.
Yeah, so try not to disturb it too often. You can also do this in a pressure cooker, the ravayas, but since it has very little water in it, I wasn't confident about showing that technique to you because not everybody is very comfortable with a pressure cooker or knows how to use it correctly. So we didn't want to cause any accidents. So we're showing you the old traditional method of putting it in a vessel and letting it cook slowly. So, हो गया गरम तेल?
हो रहा है.
भूख लग रही है. Yes, I think the
oil is ready.
Ready.
We can start doing our dip and flip. So you take a parcha in your hand, drop it into the oil, or drop it into the egg.
Into the egg.
And you don't take off the excess egg. This is important. You don't take off the excess egg.
So you wanted to develop this frilly exterior. Parsis love eggs and they're particular about how eggs are treated in various dishes. So most cutlets and fried stuff is dipped in this sort of a beaten egg and the egg is allowed to generously stick on to whatever is being fried. So it creates this beautiful lacy covering. So they're literally called lacy cutlets. So here we have quite a kadai full of yummy mini farchas.
This one's really mini.
Yeah, एकदम छोटू सा निकला. So, as you can see, my judgment about the eggs was quite correct. ये रहे. We didn't need 3. 2 was fine. Yay!
Yeah, but the fun is to put the spicy crumbs into the eggs at the end of it and make a small omelette.
Abhi now. Let's flip them over. One of the happiest smells in a Parsi house is the smell of something coated in eggs, frying happily in plenty of oil.
Here's the little fellow. So remember the most important part of this. You aren't cooking the chicken this time. The chicken is already cooked. If you want to be a little healthy, you might want to drain it out onto some kitchen towel.
So as tempting as it is to, take a quick peek at the brinjals, we are going to resist the temptation and leave them alone to cook. One most important thing while cooking is to learn to not constantly disturb the food that you're cooking. So if something needs to cook, let it cook. Constantly stirring and peeking and all doesn't really help. So
it might look very nice on camera, but it doesn't do anything for the food.
Chalo, these are looking nice and golden fried. I wish you guys could be here to taste. But koi nahi, with great difficulty I will taste them.
Riya will just have to force herself to eat all of these for you all guys. So let them fry at a high heat. Let them get a little nice brown color like this on them. Okay? The egg coating and the double cooking tends to make an enormous difference to what I'm doing. You cannot bake these. Okay? There is no version of these that can be baked. I mean, people bake samosas. I have serious issues with that. But farchas cannot be baked. The Parsi Tiger Commando Force will hunt you down and kill you in a terrible way if you
look at these.
Bake your farchas.
ये रहे हमारे पारसी स्टाइल मुर्गी के भजिए और
नहीं कहो ये सच नहीं है
और मिनी फार्चास. Let's just go and sit. The kitchen is boiling and these look absolutely gorgeous. So typically we serve these with Sida Sadha tomato sauce. You can serve it with whatever you like. Your choice of dips. You can make a thin green chutney. It will work well.
My mother used to often make farchas and thick fat potato chips for us for dinner. And that day at dinner, all we would have would be the farchas and the chips. So whilst Riya is taking out the ravaya for us and plating them, are there any questions you all would like? Manny, what do you mind? These are not mini torture sessions. These are inspiration sessions, Manny. You have to be inspired by them to make things for your family. Thank you, Gaurav. Very sweet of you to say that. So, any other questions by anybody else? Would anybody like to know anything? The farcha basically is boneless chicken. The masalas are very, very simple, Binaifer. Haldi, chili powder, salt, adrak lasun paste and garam masala. That's all you got to cook them in. Add kothmeer to the raw chicken. You can slit a couple of green chilies and put them in while you're cooking it also, if you want that. Quick, yes, apple cider vinegar is a very good substitute for sugarcane vinegar. You can use that. And you can use rava instead of breadcrumbs. That's what we do in emergencies. But I don't recommend it very much. It tends to change the texture a lot. And you can fry anything by dipping it in, by pressing it into breadcrumbs and dipping it in egg, Manny. Entire cutlets of lamb, and I mean the English cutlet, can be pre-cooked and left in the fridge overnight, and then the next day you can do this. So, recap of all the things, very simply, we did chicken farchas. We took boneless chicken, we added salt, adrak lasun paste, haldi, mirchi to them, and we added garam masala, and we added coriander and some chopped celery, which was our secret ingredient. And then we cooked them in oil and we put them aside to cool. We breaded them in breadcrumbs and then we dipped them into eggs and deep fried them. So these are double cooked chicken nuggets called chicken farchas, or mini chicken farchas as we call them. This was traditionally done with entire chicken legs and breasts. Bone in, of course. And yes, you can use corn flour in an emergency, but I would not ever recommend corn flour instead of breadcrumbs. We also basically made ravaya, which are whole kateri bengan, which are the gouti brinjals, small brinjals, sliced in a X, but not completely. You keep the caps on. You put a little salt and a little haldi into them. You stuff them with green chutney and you cook them with oil and vinegar. So, can we use dried coconut for the stuffing? Yes, you can make a chutney with dried coconuts and well, if nothing else is there. Flavor will change and it will become a little oilier, but you can do that. A lot of people egg dip crumb and egg dip abroad. Parsis kind of think that that's really weird. Mustansir, if you don't have Cola's vinegar, you can use an apple cider vinegar, you can use a red wine vinegar. If you've got a good Goan vinegar, a toddy vinegar, you can use that, yeah. So all of that is possible. And I'm now going to do the big reveal of the ravaya for you. So Riya has beautifully got them out. So this is what the ravaya look like when they're cooked. And these are our ravaya and these are our farchas, and we'll ask Riya to taste one and tell us.
Gladly. Happy to oblige. So, this is what the inside looks like, which you can see. So the breadcrumbs have made a nice layer, and then there's the lovely lacy egg layer on top.
This is also very reminiscent of the Bengali Kobi Raji in many ways.
Yeah.
You know, with the egg frill on top. So the frill fry. So I think that we passed muster and Riya seems to like them.
Yes. Yes.
And Gaurav, I really hope that you try out some of the things that we've done over here. And I'll try and cut through one of the bengans. to show you what it looks like on the inside. So the bengan cooked on the inside will look very simple, like this. Okay, and we'll ask Riya to take a bite and see whether the bengan is done. Yes, you can wipe. You can cleanse your palate with another farcha when we're finished.
So it's a good thing that bengan is one of my absolutely favorite vegetables.
So I hope you all try out some of this, Manish, and do some of these things. What's the alternative for the vinegar? So essentially use whatever vinegar you have, but you must have some kind of vinegar.
And if you're using a regular synthetic vinegar, add a small, little small pebble of gur to this mix.
Or some sugar if you have to.
Or some sugar, because the Colas vinegar, since it's a sugarcane vinegar, has a slight sweetness to it. It's not just blank sour and nothing else. So it has a more rounded flavor because of that slight sweetness. So to get a taste closest to what the original is, you can also add a splash of balsamic vinegar if you have some, but go easy on that because it's a strong tasting gorgeous vinegar. So mix a splash of balsamic with whatever regular other vinegar you're using. So,
Manish, we never spice our breadcrumbs. Never. And since these breadcrumbs are made out of regular bread, they've got enough salt in them. So the same chutney that we use to stuff the pomfrets, Aditya, this is the same chutney that's used for patrani machi. So basically, Aditya, this is the same chutney that's used for patrani machi, and we jokingly call this the vegetarian equivalent for patrani machi. In fact, my mum would make this if we were making patrani machi and there would be any vegetarians coming home for lunch or anybody that didn't eat fish. Yeah, this flour egg crumb tends to give you a very crunchy crumb on the outside. Parsis don't like a crunchy crumb. You end up getting that Kentucky Fried Chicken kind of finish on the outside. And if you like that typical fried chicken finish that the American South makes, yes, it's a good thing. But otherwise, it doesn't really work. For most Parsi things, have a much softer frill to them. Okay, I'm terrible with maneuvering through these comments.
want me to do it?
Thank you guys for saying that they look awesome. And thank you, Kamalika, for seeing us both in the kitchen. We do cook quite often in the kitchen together. It's just that I'm not at home most of the time and I cook for a living, and it's a little difficult to cook for a living and then come home and cook. And believe you me, when you cook for a living, you don't really eat a lot of what you cook. You can't eat biryani and tandoori and patrani machi every day. You want to come home to good old dal chawal and sabji.
Or fried eggs.
And just very often when I come home very late at 2 a.m. and I'm really dog tired after a major party that we're catering to, I ask Riya to fry me a couple of eggs or scramble a couple of eggs with a couple of parathas from the freezer. So, yeah. And Mani, you can do the bhejas exactly like this. Cook the bhejas whole, then crumb them and egg dip them and fry the whole bheja. And you actually pour a little egg onto the frying bheja, and it's called brain fried in egg. You can use lemon juice, but lemon juice won't give you the same kind of sourness. Preferably, Gaurav, sugarcane vinegar, if not some other kind of vinegar at least. Kamalika says my son will get inside the mobile for those farchas now. Kamalika, I so wish I could send you some of them.
Please make them, they're very easy.
The Anivesh, Chutney has mint coriander. So as much coriander as you use, half that much mint. And chilies to your taste. Garlic, black peppercorns, salt, sugar and lime juice. And of course the coconut. So we use fresh grated coconut. You can choose and use whatever's available to you. It's a pleasure, Akshay. Sharing is what you should be doing with the food that you cook. And thank you, RDX6. These are some very simple things to make which are great tasting. The farchas go amazingly well with beer. Or if you're making them for lunch, you make a nice shandy with it, or a gin and lemon with it, or a gin and bitter lemon with it, and they go really well. So again, it's a great cocktail snack, and I don't know how much time we've taken and how much time is left to us, but that's the things for today. If there are any other questions that you'd like to ask us, I'm on Insta, Kurush Dalal. Ria's on Insta, she's Euphoria, and we'll be very, very happy to help you guys out with anything. Recipes always improve when you share them and they come back to you with modifications in them. And thank you very, very, very much, Easy Diner, for having me and Ria on and for having us over here. So we had a really great time doing this, and I think that's the end for today's live. Thank you very much, folks. Bye.